It began with a countdown no one on Earth had started. Across the sky, hundreds of crimson blips bloomed on military scopes, filling the edges of the solar system like a spreading rash. The alien Armada had finally come. Ships as long as cities, bristling with weapons meant to crack planets. Their arrival darkened half the network feeds as civilian satellites shut down from sensor overload. First contact, one nervous analyst whispered in the Pentagon war room. "No," replied a man at the head of the table, sipping coffee like it was a Sunday morning. His name tag read Commander Elias Ward. His suit was crisp, his tie perfectly knotted. The kind of man you'd trust to host a dinner party, until you noticed the steel in his eyes. "This," Ward said, "is an ambush." The aliens had chosen Earth for the spectacle. They wanted to make an example, a smoking crater broadcast across the stars. Their envoy had announced it weeks earlier, dripping with condescension. "Surrender your system. Humanity is a liability to galactic stability. You are reckless, primitive, dangerous. Submit, and you will be tolerated." Earth had smiled politely and said nothing. Because if there's one thing humans know how to do, it's play dumb until the punchline lands. And now the Armada advanced, confident, united, laughing across encrypted channels that humans couldn't possibly break. They were streaming the alien jokes in real time, rating them out of 10. So far the squid-shaped captain's pun about Terran terrible defenses held the record at a weak 4 out of 10. The aliens expected panic. They expected chaos. What they got instead was Elias Ward adjusting his tie and asking mildly, "Coffee topped up, anyone?" His officers chuckled nervously. One muttered, "Sir, with respect, this might be the wrong time for coffee." Ward's smile was sharp. "Lieutenant, there is never a wrong time for coffee. Especially not when guests are about to drop in." He stood, gesturing at the tactical screen, where the red storm of the alien fleet closed in. "Gentlemen, ladies, non-binaries, and assorted AI, shall we introduce ourselves properly?" At his signal, a single dot appeared on the screen. Blue. Human. Small. A lone warship drifting at the edge of Saturn's orbit, dwarfed by the swarm heading toward it. The aliens spotted it immediately. Their laughter echoed across their encrypted channels. "One ship? They send us one ship." Perhaps their courage outstrips their arithmetic. The Armada commander, a scaled brute named Gorvek, sneered at his crew. "Erase it. Show these mammals what it means to challenge the stars." His fleet readied weapons, a storm of plasma cannons glowing like the wrath of suns. And then the lone human ship waved. Its running lights blinked in a cheerful pattern, like a neighbor flicking the porch light to say hello. On board, Elias Ward's voice transmitted openly, calmly, politely. "Good evening, honored guests. You appear to be lost. Can I offer directions? Perhaps a cup of tea?" The aliens froze. This was not the script. Prey did not greet the predator. "Destroy them," Gorvek growled. Thousands of weapons fired. Beams that could shear moons lanced toward the human ship. Missiles streaked like comets. And vanished. The human vessel shimmered, its hull bending reality itself. Energy dissolved against its shields like rain on a windshield. Missiles evaporated into harmless sparks. Ward's voice came again, still polite. "That was rude. We were only trying to be hospitable." The alien Armada hesitated. Fleets that had enslaved worlds and extinguished stars found themselves blinking in confusion. Because no one had ever seen a human warship like this. Back in the Council of Worlds, representatives watched the feed in horrified silence. The Chlorith speaker slammed his claws on the table. "Impossible. Humans cannot build such vessels." The Varen delegate, feathers puffed, whispered, "Then where did they get it?" Only the elder Serati murmured the truth. "They built it themselves. And they've been hiding it." Waiting. On the human ship's bridge, Ward remained a picture of calm. "Now," he said lightly, "shall we demonstrate intent?" The weapons officer grinned. "Yes, sir." One shot. Just one. A narrow beam of impossible light lanced out. It didn't hit a ship. It hit empty space in the middle of the Armada. And suddenly, the void itself tore open. A singularity bloomed for 3 heartbeats before collapsing, dragging 5 alien dreadnoughts into oblivion like toys down a drain. Silence. Galactic, crushing silence. Ward sipped his coffee. We do so hate clutter near our system. Fear spread like a virus. Alien captains shouted in overlapping frequencies. The Armada staggered, formations broken, panic bleeding into every order. And then Ward leaned forward, voice silky. "Let me be clear. We don't want war. But if you bring it to our doorstep, don't be surprised when we answer." He paused, his smile soft as snowfall. Firmly. The aliens regrouped, desperate to salvage pride. Gorvek roared, "All ships converge. Crush it under numbers." The Armada surged forward. Thousands of vessels. The lone human ship pulsed with light. And a fleet decloaked around it. 10, 20, 50 ships. Human warships, everyone armed to the teeth, sliding from the dark like sharks circling in moonlight. Ward's tone never shifted from polite. "I did mention coffee tastes better when shared with friends." The battle erupted. Alien firepower thundered, shaking space itself. Human ships danced between barrages, shields bending physics, weapons answering with surgical precision. Every time an alien dreadnought lined up a shot, it found its targeting jammed. Every time fighters swarmed, they discovered their comms hijacked, forced to listen to human pilots humming old Earth tunes over the radio. One sang Country Roads. Another whistled the Imperial March. The absurdity only deepened the terror. Because while humans joked and bantered, alien ships died by the dozens. "Why are they laughing?" one alien officer wailed as his cruiser split in half. "Why do they sound so calm?" Because that was the secret. Humans weren't calm despite the danger. They were calm because of it. This was their element. The battlefield wasn't chaos to them, it was home. Ward, watching from his bridge, murmured, "Funny thing about humans. We're apex predators who pretend we're not. We invent games, sports, chess, poker, all just practice for this." And as another alien carrier detonated in a silent bloom, he added with a faint smile, "You should have folded." The climax came swift. Half the Armada lay in ruins. The rest faltered, retreat bleeding into their formations. Gorvek snarled, scales pale with disbelief. "One species. One planet. How can they stand against us?" Ward's reply was almost gentle. "Because we were waiting for you." And then came the twist. Because as the remnants of the Armada tried to escape, their FTL drives failed. Entire fleets blinking red errors, hyperspace routes collapsing into void. Ward's voice carried across every channel. "You didn't attack us, my friends. You walked into our experiment. We've been seeding this system with traps for years. Layered gravity wells, false beacons, sabotaged NAV points. You didn't find Earth. We guided you here." The realization struck like a second singularity. The humans hadn't defended their world. They had baited the galaxy. Alien fleets shattered, surrender signals flooding in. The Council of Worlds reeled in horror, suddenly aware they'd never truly understood humans at all. Ward stood on his bridge, straightening his tie, his tone perfectly polite. "Ladies and gentlemen of the galaxy, let me leave you with this. Humanity doesn't start wars. But we do finish them. And if you come for our home again," he paused, eyes cold steel, smile warm as honey, "bring a bigger Armada." The comms cut. The battlefield went silent. And in that silence, the galaxy learned the most dangerous truth of all. Humans had been waiting. And now, the waiting was over.